Hi, today I'm going to take a look at the Hik Connect app and how to use that in a great way with your devices, looking at whether you have an NVR or whether you have a solar cam. We'll have a couple of videos around each. And so first thing to do is to open up your Hik Connect app. Now, depending on how many sites you have or how many cameras you have, you might see multiple cameras like this. And so you may have just one camera on its own, which will come up as one bar, or you may have an NVR with multiple cameras attached, which will show you multiple ones there. And if you just have one set of cameras, you'll just get one of these bars. You won't get multiples as I've got here. I've got a few devices that I work with. But we're going to look at the NVR service first, which is your network video recorder, and how that works with your cameras. So the first thing to do is open up your app, so the Hik Connect app, and when it opens up it will show you the cameras that you've got. So if you've got multiple cameras like I've got here, you'll see all of those in there. Otherwise you may just see your one camera at the top. So I'm going to just take you in a bit closer and we'll have a look at some of them. Alright, so once you come into the cameras and start looking at the services there, so we can just tap on the camera that we want to open up, and we'll get this view here. Now you can see that we've got the image of the camera there. We have a few buttons underneath the screen, and we have some notifications that have come up beneath there. So what we can do is we can live pause the screen. We can some of the cameras you can actually talk through, so you have the microphone there. You have an HD or an SD feature for quality of the image that you're seeing. So often they'll come up in the HD. If your streaming capabilities are quite low, then it's good to switch it to SD, and it'll just make that stream a bit less bandwidth and be a bit easier to work with. You've got the little 4 squares there. The 4 squares will divide that up into multiple cameras. So in this case, where we have more than one camera, we can go, I'm just going to tap the 9, and that'll show me all the cameras at once there. And so we can see a shot of all the cameras in live view. Often it'll pop up in a single one camera view though. The other one here, which is a little, looks like a little screen being flipped, that will do as it looks. It will flip the screen and give you a full wide view, full screen image. So just tapping on the screen again and hitting that icon once again will bring us back to the smaller screen. So you have your main screen there where you can see everything going on. Beneath that we have the playback button, and so at the moment this is a live view. We're going to tap playback, and this is going to show me a timeline and different features that are there. And so we can see at the moment it's sitting at around about sort of midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and we can see that we've had a car drive by. So that's the first motion detection that the cameras have picked up. I can actually go into the little tab here where it says today. I can select any date that I want there, and so we have where there's a little green dot on the date means that it's got recordings in there that we can look at. So we're just going to stick with today's date. Okay, at the bottom, and then I can just scroll across using the bar there to find the next event, and we see a little cat running across the driveway there that's picked up. If we come through to earlier in the morning or later in the morning, we can get more again, and we can just keep going until we find the events that we want to find. And so they keep going there. And so with the recorders, they will just record until they get to full capacity, and then they will start recording over themselves. The last date that was recorded will then get wiped out and create the new date recording forward. So that gives you a good amount of recording going on. And so we've got a month or more of recording on here, depending on how many cameras you've got, depends how long a time frame of recording that you'll get. So we have here option of hard drive or cloud service. So you can purchase cloud service, so that'll hold your recordings on the cloud as an off-site option for security for keeping your images there. Otherwise you can just stick with the hard drive and it will capture all your images on there. So that's the basic playback options, and as I say, you can scroll this along. Anywhere that it's got a red line, it will then show you activity at that time frame. So because we've got these cameras set up as motion detection only, that's when it's recording. We have a line cross in there as well, which is just a line, imaginary line in the camera, that when somebody crosses that line, it will then pick up and record at that stage as well. And so that just prevents having 24 hours of red in there that you've got to try and go through and see what's happening. So we can go back to live view, and that'll bring us back to here. So you can see here that we've got a number of thumbnails underneath, and so you can see they're saying line crossing detection. So that means that something's come across the line that we've got, an imaginary line we've got on the camera, and it's picked up the image there, and it's given us a snapshot of what that will be. Now the other cool feature is if you've got multiple cameras on this service, we can just flick between the cameras and we can see all the different live views. Same with the playback, we can see all those there. And so depending on whether or not we've got any detection services set, we would get an event notification in here. And so these are specific event notifications. The camera will be recording on motion, but it won't give notification here because we haven't told it to give us notification with motion, only with the line cross detection. So that's a simple view of playback viewing your cameras. Now if you wanted to do some adjustments to the cameras, you can do that by hitting the three dots in the top corner, and you'll get share, which means you can share this camera with somebody else who's on a Hik Connect app. You get settings, which is what we'll dive into a bit more shortly. Add to a group, so you can create a group if you wish, and icon descriptions, which will just help you knowing what is going on with your icons here. But we're going to go into settings, and what it shows us here is the details of the camera in the NVR. We have area, so you can create different areas, put different cameras in. Camera management, so you can actually look at each camera and just see what's going on, and also show you what cameras are there and what are online. And so we've only got 7 cameras in this case, so this one's offline, so we've turned it off, so we don't have to see it on the live view, so it's not going to be able to scroll through and we just get a device offline image, because we know it's offline, we don't need to have it on, so we can turn it off here. So if we had other less cameras, we could turn them off as well, so that we only see the cameras that we need to see. We get into notification settings, and so we've got this enabled. You can disable that, so if you're getting too many notifications, it can be turned off. Cloud storage, as I said, there's something you can purchase separately to have your recordings go up to the cloud. And give you a storage status, so to show you how much storage you've got, your device version, so your firmware, image and video encryption, you can turn that on or off, and so that just helps with the security of those here. Audio and DDNS remote configuration. Generally the DDNS and remote configuration aren't set, but they will they just come up there, and you don't really need those. Custom audio is if you've got audio going through the camera that you can put messages, you can have conversations with people there if you want, so you could set up a security alarm service as such on the camera, that if something comes through at the time you've got it enabled, it will say to the person, warning, don't be here. Whatever you want to have on there. You could have a dog barking, you could have a bird chirping, whatever you'd like, just to warn people that there is something going on there. And then obviously you've got delete device. So we don't want to be deleting the device unless it's failed or something's gone wrong, or you're removing somebody else's camera from your service. And so that's the main features of having a NVR camera with recorder and those options there. Those are the main things. So hopefully that's been helpful and give you a good overview of what happens with your app and how to use it. Thanks.